Everyone dreams of becoming a superhero. Some take it further. All around the world, real-life costumed heroes are dedicating their lives to helping others. The superheroes are rising. Rise with them. Across the ocean, in Brussels, Belgium, a Cape Crusader campaigns to raise awareness of the European Union. Who is he? What does he do? Why don a mask and costume? For years, Brussels has been considered the de facto capital of the European Union, and this enigmatic symbol has supported the EU as a recognised public figure. Fighting for what is right, Captain Europe is a master marvel of Brussels, the European Union's dedicated real-life superhero.
Well, my real-life superhero name is Captain Europe. I operate by invitation. That's mostly here in Brussels. I did once get invited to Copenhagen. My community is the 500 million citizens of the European Union, and I try and help them in a number of ways, by being a consumer champion, by raising awareness of the European Union, by making people smile, and here comes the security to probably ask me some other questions. Cut.
Non,
Je n'ai pas mon badge en tant que tel, mais j'ai la preuve que je suis bien fonctionnaire.
ah ouais, non, c'est des fonctionnaires. Hein.
Bon, un fonctionnaire et des étudiants.
Ça fonctionne.
Donc,
Ouais, ça va, de toute façon, le tien c'est document d'identité. Ça va? Fonctionnaire?
Hein?
Monsieur est fonctionnaire.
Vous avez déjà repris des images
oui.
de cette partie-ci?
Oui.
Je pense qu'il va falloir les effacer.
Mais non, il y a des touristes qui prennent des photos.
Oui, des touristes qui prennent des photos ou un film qui est après diffusé, ce n'est pas du tout pareil.
Ah non, c'est pas pour diffuser, hein, c'est un projet universitaire.
Oui, mais il y a des personnes qui vont le voir. C'est un touriste qui prend une photo avec un appareil normal, qui n'est pas un appareil professionnel. Ici, c'est que des photos ou films. En plus, c'est filmé. Vous pouvez arrêter, s'il vous plaît, de filmer. Vous pouvez arrêter.
Ah, it's off. It's off.
Pour les journées portes ouvertes du CDR ou des instituts?
Au début, c'était du CDR. Dans le passé, j'étais au Parlement aussi.
Parce que le problème, c'est qu'on ne peut pas filmer si vous n'avez pas l'autorisation. Même si c'est l'extérieur du bâtiment, là vous êtes. Il y a des caméras, il y a des matériels de sécurité, on ne peut pas filmer.
Le périmètre, ça va, je pense.
Le périmètre, c'est tout ce qui est la zone vigile ici. Partout vous voyez des panneaux avec le V.
Ah oui.
C'est pas comme vous voyez.
Donc,
tout ce qui est périmètre donc, du Parlement.
Hi, I'm Hero Boy. I'm 17 years old and I primarily operate out of Fairbanks, Alaska. I help out wherever I can with whatever I have. I'm non-violent, and in times where I do have to defend myself or others, I utilize a system which enables me to defend myself quickly and efficiently without hurting the assailants. My number one goal in all my activities is to make sure everyone goes home safe, including the bad guys. I wear a costume to help me up to good deeds. It's a symbol that I'm not just some guy that happened to be in the right place at the right time and made a hasty decision under pressure to act. I do this because years ago I was in a traumatic situation. There was no escape and I was gone for 3 years. I knew nobody was coming to save me, and that one feeling, that sensation, drove me to act. It drove me to want to help others, because I don't want anyone to have to experience that sense of helplessness.
Meanwhile, in Enfield, London, a political activist, Mr. Fowl, dons a cape and cowl in order to fight the misrepresentation and mistreatment of those with social and mental impairments, conditions that he himself deals with on a daily basis.
The costume and the mask is it's kind of it's a separate, to me it's a separate character from who I am in real life. It's a way of getting across what needs to be said without necessarily being myself. I've always had trouble with accepting who I am and sort of becoming a character and putting this rather silly voice on. It rather emphasises this. I don't really think I've had that much of a problem as Mr. Fowl as I've had in real life with getting people picking on me.
There he is. Get back here!
I always think the best hero stories are the ones where the story is such that you could easily turn to become a villain at the same point, from the same experience. I do think the sort of being picked on and being victimised for something you can't particularly help is something that can sort of end up with this kind of development. Everybody knew there was something wrong with me from a young age. I think the first time they noticed there was something particularly odd was when I was about 4, and I was at nursery at the time, so it was interesting, but it took a long time to get an official diagnosis. I got the dyspraxia diagnosis, or clumsy child syndrome as it's often called, before I got the Asperger's syndrome one, and considering how I'm one of the examples of how linked the two conditions are, that's helped future people, and whenever I'm feeling particularly down or depressed about things how they're going, I'm always told by parents and friends, just think about what of an impact I've had just doing not very much, just being there.
A whole army of masked crusaders is fighting crime on Britain's streets at night. At least 16 superheroes have been identified. They have names such as Vague, Swift, Black Arrow, Lionheart and Terrorvision, but researcher Tia Kroulos said many operated in the shadows. 2 self-styled superheroes, the Dark Spartan and his sidekick the Black Void, have vowed to fight crime and deploy justice to their neighbourhood. Despite months of patrolling their local seaside resorts, the pair, in real life a financial advisor and a shop worker, have failed to find any trouble at all. In fact, police say they are more worried about their safety than the local crime fraternities. Roger Hayhurst, 20, was left black and blue when the villains recognised him as a crime-fighting night warrior, even though he was not wearing his outfit. Now he is giving up his 2-year mission to break up fights and tackle antisocial behaviour in the tough streets of Salford, Greater Manchester. Some lads started punching me and my face was all swollen, he said. Now I mainly dress up for charity appearances. Rebecca has got rid of her costume.
Greetings everyone, this is Knighthood speaking. I'm a member of the real-life superhero community. For 22 years I've walked amongst you in secret, usually dressed as a homeless person. I never had any intention of ever revealing myself to you, but the situation has come up that forces the issue. The homeless population in Pinellas County has doubled in the last 2 years. I was thinking about this problem and an idea came to me. I'd like to share it with you. Every year millions of people celebrate Halloween. They put on costumes, parents take their children door to door to collect candy. I was thinking, what if we start a new holiday called Superhero Day, the day before Halloween? This time, everyone who's going to celebrate it puts on their costume, takes a bag like this, goes door to door, only instead of collecting candy, they collect food for the homeless and donate it to one of our 14 food pantries. I can't do this one alone, folks. I'm going to need you to step up to the plate. I need you to be a hero for one night.
Meanwhile, in Brussels, Captain Europe saves the day and convinces the security to let us keep filming.
They were a bit unhappy with us filming, but eventually they said as long as we weren't filming any entrances and things like that. The other guy who came out was an official from the Parliament, so not a security guard as such, and he turns out to be from Sweden. So there you go. A bit of European multiculturalism. I think, if we're honest, there are lots of ways to help your community. I mean, back in the UK, there are people who volunteer as special constables. There are people who volunteer for organisations like the Samaritans, the Salvation Army, the churches. I think, all of those people are heroes in their own way. You don't have to dress up in a silly costume. But, sometimes if you want to make a point or be a bit more visible, then silly costumes have their place. I was expecting a lot more hostility, actually, particularly in Denmark. The worst reaction I got was just plain indifference. And the nicest reaction I got was somebody wolf whistling at me in the street, which I thought was rather flattering. That was just something I...
I'm the Purple Lotus. I always wanted to live in a realm where there were superheroes. Superhero, I don't like that word, but anyway, that's the word we have. It became less of a Halloween costume, and I quit thinking of it as a fiction. The first thing I did was walk up to some cops. Hey, this is my name. This is what I'm doing. Do you need help doing what you're doing right now? Of course, they're obviously like, no. Get out of here. I went and bought a book bag full of waters and walked around town giving people water. I did not want to approach this in a combative fashion. I didn't see it as realistic. I would put boxes of comic books in my truck and drive them over. The Lotus Loader, that's the name of my truck, thank you. I came up with that myself. Drive comic books over to the youth centers or the community center in my gear and get out, and the kids are entertained by that, and I give them comic books and dash. Later on, I found out the dudes at the community center were selling my books that I gave for the kids on eBay. I started really getting into patrol. I would seek out the city areas, do a lot of street time. There were a couple of 24-hour bars. I've broken up a few fights, not with violence, just with presence and charisma and word. Also have gotten the police involved in those kind of situations. I've helped drunk people get home. I help, I just help. That's my trip. I'm not pretending that I'm gonna save the world. I'm not pretending I'm gonna kick somebody's ass. I'm your buddy. I'm the friendly neighborhood Purple Lotus.
You can probably see from the costume is actually based on a villain. The penguin. Also the top hat, the bow tie and the waistcoat. The reason being that I think the penguin gets a bit of a bad rep. He's just a result of the failings of Gotham City, which has always been an allegory for the worst of capitalism. When you're in receipt of any kind of disability support at all in this country, you do get yourself very paranoid. The vast majority of claimants, genuine claimants, are very paranoid about it because of the atmosphere of sort of fear and loathing that's put towards us, and that's something I intend to combat. I will admit to having something of a superiority complex about it at times, and this isn't necessarily the right attitude to have, and I try to work on it, but it's a difficult thing to explain. I'd have people sort of giving me funny looks or double checking me pass and things like that. And it really did get on my nerves. That was how I started looking into these things, and then obviously ran into these people who are doing some sterling work and really should be congratulated for. As I said, the only real difference between a superhero and a genuine hero is genuine heroes probably got better dress sense.
Nobody's quite sure who I am, so I'm able to be a bit of a citizen's champion. Sometimes I can be quite critical of the commission or of commissioners. If I were kind of speaking publicly as an EU official, I'd have to be a bit more careful about that. I do enjoy teasing those in positions of power, but in ways that I might not do as my alter ego. In terms of the impact that it has on the public, I would guess I'm probably doing rather better as Captain Europe than I am as a slightly obscure, non-public facing official driving a desk somewhere. Really what I would like to see is a world where, in a sense, superheroes are not necessary. We are symbols of a fight that needs to be fought. If you think that what we're fighting against are things like lies, injustice, corruption, and so on, if we could have a world devoid of those things, then that would be great. We could all hang up our capes for good.
Superheroes are real. They are everywhere. And they are rising. Rise with them.
Right guys, duty calls. See you later.